Hey everybody, who's your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 16 of Supergirl called Fallen. And this is the episode that brings in the infamous red kryptonite from the Superman mythos. And red kryptonite is well known for making Superman and such um, sort of really drop their inhibitions, really brings out the worst in them. And we've seen Red K on Smallville before, and frankly, stories like this where the heroes sort of something wacky happens and the heroes kind of turn basically evil temporarily. For whatever reason, I've never really liked stories like this, which is a little odd because my favorite sort of villains are, somebody who is sort of a dark reflection of the hero. I don't know why I don't like stories like this. I just never have. It always just sort of seems like a lot of the things they do to make the characters seem bad always just ends up seeming cheap. I guess is the only real explanation that comes to my mind. Now there were a few nice little ideas with what they did with Kara while she was high on Red K. Having her start dressing like Astra, that was one. Having her go to the bar and do the flicking things with the peanuts, say it out of Superman 3. Well, it's a nice nod to the Superman mythos. That's the whole bit there is one of the things I really always hated about Superman 3. But yeah, what was interesting though was Kara basically letting it loose verbally on the people around her while under the influence of Red K, and then well, basically, I really like that bit because this plays into Jungian psychology a lot. If you've ever heard of the famous psychiatrist Carl Jung, um, he had this big idea that there's a part of ourselves that is comprised of all of the thoughts that we try not to think about. Resentment towards the people in our lives whom we care about, all the jealousy we feel about people that we care about. Um, Oh wow! I don't know if you guys could hear that, but there was a just huge roll of thunder right then. So just to be on the safe side, I might make this video a little bit shorter because yeah, I got a surge protector on my computer, but take no chances, huh? Anyway, um, yeah, and he called this part of ourselves the shadow. And if you've ever played the video game Persona 4 or watched the anime of that, the idea of the shadow figure is very big in that. And this is, as I said, it's really just those thoughts, those parts of ourselves that we really try to pretend don't exist, that we try not to acknowledge, but are a part of everybody. And again, as I said, this part of us can often, have anger and resentment, even towards the people whom we care about the most. And it doesn't mean that our feelings of love, the way that we care about these people, isn't real. It's just, in my mind, an acknowledgement of the fact that even the people you care about the most, you're not always going to get along with, and that not every feeling you have towards them is always going to be positive. And that's just part of being human. It's not nice that we have to acknowledge this part of ourselves, but we do ourselves no favors by pretending that it doesn't exist. That's kind of what happens with Kara at the end of it when she comes back to her senses. She's just absolutely horrified that these thoughts were ever a part of her. And well, it's understandable. I mean, we really don't ever want the people we care about to see the worst part of ourselves, and that's in many ways what the shadow is. We don't want the people in our lives that we love to know that we've ever really felt anger or resentment towards them or jealousy. But as part of being human, that's basically inevitable. And because this is a part of us, all that stuff that Kara said, there's a grain of truth. That's not the whole of her feelings towards the people that she lashed out at. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some part of that is real. Um, I'm not getting into the whole stuff with Jimmy because that part of this episode just bored me horribly. Um, her feelings towards Alex. Like you've been trying to keep me down. Well, that's probably something that Kara has thought, but now it doesn't mean that she genuinely believes that. But there's probably a part of her that did resent Alex for that. And, Alex at times did really seem to be going way too far to keep Kara from, being who she really was. And then there's the whole situation with Cat Grant, which I absolutely loved. Because, Cat is a multifaceted character, but I tend to think that she acts like a jerk far more often than she acts like a decent person. And I love that bit where she starts off. It's basically trains Supergirl. It's like, "Hey, I made you, and I can break you too," which is really not a good thing to say to somebody who's can crush a car with their bare hands. Bed change the course of mighty rivers and bend steel with their bare hands and all of that. And I'm just like, Cat, do you realize that who you are trying to threaten? I mean, you're basically betting on Supergirl's good side not to make you pay for that. And Cat gets thrown off a building for her trouble. So, yeah, I think Cat got a well deserved reminder of be careful about who you make threats against. I mean, not that it's cool to throw people off buildings. I mean, that was obviously completely wrong, but given all the way the times that Cat has crapped on people for no good reason, I think a good scare is well deserved part of what her karma had coming to her. Also, that TV show she appeared on, The Talk, I I thought that was just like something the show made up, to kind of make fun of The View. And then just by pure coincidence, later that same day, I watched the episode this morning, and then just while I was out, doing stuff today, I happened to see on a TV like that actual show. I'm like, oh my god, that's a real show. That's like not just something they made up for this thing. I mean, I don't. Well, I don't get cable anymore. Long story short, to save some money, I basically got rid of my cable package, and now I only have internet in my apartment. That's why my Agents of Shield reviews have been lagging. I got to wait for them to actually put it up on the website because I swore off of acquiring TV show episodes from the great ether of the internet. Yeah. So, anywho, where was I? Yeah, Cat Grant. Um, I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, oh yeah, the stupid TV show. So yeah, apparently the talk that's a real thing, and it's just like, oh my god, this sort of thing is just like why I absolutely can't stand daytime television. I actually watch very little television. I mean, I watch the shows that I review, and then most of the other time, if I'm enjoying some entertainment, I'm either playing video games or watching Let's Plays on YouTube. But anyway, enough about my life. Getting back to the episode. So we also have the subplot with Win and Siobhan and Kara catching them in the closet. That was some pretty hilarious stuff. And I like how if you pay attention, you can see that Wind clearly did not have his pants. Wind's pants were clearly open during that situation with Siobhan in the closet. So yeah, yeah, there was some boning going on. And I also like that Siobhan, evil Kara had this whole thing blow up, basically sabotage Siobhan the way Siobhan would have doubtlessly sabotaged someone else if she had the opportunity. And I will say the one bit in this episode that I really like with Cat Grant is where Cat gives her that speech. It's just like, oh, you probably thought this is the part where I kind of give you a little pat on your back for your gumption in scooping me. Like it sounded like something that you'd seen like the plot of some really crappy chick flick or part of the plot of some really bad chick lit novel. And I really don't like to use that term, but it's the one that comes to mind. And then Cat goes, "Yeah, that ain't happening. You are so fired. And by the way, I've talked to Perry, and you ain't getting a job with the Daily Planet." And and yeah, kind of given the way non-disclosure agreements would work at a company like CatGo, Siobhan is enormously lucky Cat Grant isn't suing the hell out of her. But, of course, this is all to set up Siobhan for, well, those of us who know the character from the comics, we know what's coming for her. And this is doubtlessly just to sort of further that plot along. Excuse me a sec. So, also from the comics, we get the one alien is mentioned as being a member of the Kund species. Now these guys are from the comics, and they're oh wow, there's some lightning going on outside. Yeah, I probably should wrap this up fairly quickly. Um, yeah, they're a sort of generic thug species from the comics. Um, Other stuff. Now Miranda Crane. I really don't particularly like what they did with her this episode. She starts to indicate that she might have some feelings for Hank Henshaw, and then that gets undercut immediately before it really has any time to percolate and seem like it might go somewhere. And then she gives this speech about how, I've been afraid of aliens ever since I was a little girl, and never bothers to explain why. Now, John having to come out as the Martian Manhunter, getting caught, and him giving that whole speech about, like, look, I'd be imprisoned for 1,000 years if it meant I could protect you and Alex. I mean, that's cool stuff. And it certainly was a surprise. I did not expect that to happen. Um, the same with like Maxwell Lord, coming in there. It was pretty hilarious to watch him. It was like, oh my god, I have screwed up so bad. I mean, it is pretty hilarious that he's basically caused the situation that he was afraid of to come to pass. A Kryptonian going rogue. Little surprising there was no Clark going, Kara, what the hell? But all right, you can't have you kind of don't want it to seem like Superman Clark is breathing down Kara's neck. Although this is one where he should definitely does feel like he should have been like, okay, I guess I should head over to the National City and see what the hell's going on with my cousin. But yeah. All right. So with that said, folks, I am gonna call it here. I do want to get this wrapped up, just in case anything funky happens with the storm that's obviously brewing outside. So yeah, not the strongest episode of the series so far, but did have a few moments. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and also please join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. And until next time, take care and have a good one.